There are 4 simple things a woman can do that can completely change the way a man feels around her. The surprising part is that most women are not doing these things. In fact, many are doing the complete opposite without even realizing it, and that can be the reason a man stays guarded, stops pursuing, or fails to create the emotional bond she wants. The interesting thing is that these gestures are incredibly simple. When you first hear them, you might think they are too easy to actually make a difference. But that simplicity is exactly what gives them power. Most people overlook the small things that create emotional impact. In this video, we're going to explore these 4 feminine gestures, why they affect a man psychologically, how you can recognize when they are working, and how to express them naturally without pretending or forcing anything. Before we continue, if you're enjoying this content and finding value in it, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications so you don't miss future videos designed to help you understand relationships, emotional connection, and the way people communicate with each other. I also want to ask you something. Leave a comment and tell me where you're watching from, including your city and country. And I'm curious about your opinion. Do you believe small changes in the way we interact with someone can completely transform the way they feel about us? Or do you think attraction and connection require something much deeper? Your thoughts matter because they help create conversations around understanding relationships in a healthier and more meaningful way. One of the biggest mistakes many women make when they really like a man is believing that giving more attention, more affection, and more effort will automatically make him emotionally closer. When you care about someone, it feels natural to show it. You might start checking in more often, asking about his day, giving compliments, supporting him, and making yourself constantly available whenever he needs you. Your intention is pure. You are trying to show him that you care and create a stronger bond. You believe that if you give enough love, patience, and attention, eventually he will feel safe enough to open up and return the same level of emotional investment. But sometimes, the way someone receives that energy is completely different from how you intended it. When a man feels that someone is constantly seeking his attention or needing a certain response from him, his mind may not always interpret it as affection. Instead, he may experience it as pressure, responsibility, or an expectation that he has to meet. And when people feel emotional pressure, many naturally create distance. They become quieter, less responsive, or more withdrawn. Then the woman is left wondering what happened. She thinks, "I was caring. I was supportive. I showed him how much I valued him. Why is he suddenly acting distant?" The important thing to understand is that this does not mean your kindness is wrong or that caring for someone is a mistake. The issue is understanding that emotional connection is not built only through giving more. It is also created through balance, confidence, and allowing space for someone to move towards you willingly. Many women are never taught how differently men can process emotions and connection. Society often says that men simply want a woman who is loving, available, and always showing interest. While those qualities can be meaningful, they are not the only things that create deep attraction. A strong emotional bond often comes from the feelings someone experiences in your presence. Men and women may express connection differently. Some people build closeness through constant communication and sharing, while others feel connection through trust, respect, admiration, and the emotional atmosphere created between 2 people. Certain behaviors can communicate confidence, security, and emotional maturity without saying a single word. There are specific signals that can make a man feel like he has found someone different, not because of manipulation or games, but because these signals communicate something powerful. I am comfortable with myself. I enjoy being with you, but I do not lose myself trying to keep you. That kind of energy can feel refreshing because it creates emotional safety instead of pressure. When a person feels accepted rather than chased, they often become more willing to reveal their thoughts, emotions, and vulnerabilities. They may naturally become more open, more affectionate, and more invested because the connection feels effortless instead of forced. That is what we are going to explore today. 4 powerful gestures that can completely change the emotional dynamic between you and a man. These are the small behaviors that many people overlook but can have a major impact on how someone experiences your presence. Once you understand them, you will start noticing why certain people naturally create strong connections while others struggle despite putting in a lot of effort. These gestures are not about pretending to be someone you are not. They are about understanding emotional balance, confidence, and the subtle ways people respond to each other. So let's break down these 4 gestures and understand why they can be so impactful. The first one is something I call the unbothered pause, and for many women, this may be the most difficult one to practice because at first, it can feel completely unnatural. The idea behind this first gesture is simple. When he says or does something that would normally trigger an immediate reaction from you, something that would make you want to explain yourself, defend your feelings, chase after him, or fix the situation right away, you create a small pause before responding. You don't ignore him, and you're not trying to manipulate the situation. You simply give yourself a few seconds to breathe, process, and allow the moment to exist without instantly jumping into action. Sometimes, those 2 or 3 seconds are enough to change the entire energy of the interaction, because instead of reacting from emotion, you are responding from a place of calm and confidence. You are showing that you can handle your feelings without being controlled by them. The reason this small pause can have such a strong effect is because many people become predictable when they feel anxious or uncertain. If he takes hours to reply, you might feel the urge to send another message. If he becomes distant, you may immediately try harder to get his attention back. If he says something that hurts you, you might rush to explain why you feel that way or try to convince him to understand you. These reactions are completely human, but when someone always responds instantly from emotion, the other person never gets the opportunity to wonder, reflect, or experience the natural consequences of their behavior. A calm pause changes that pattern because it creates a moment where he notices something different about you. When you stop reacting in the way he expects, his attention naturally becomes more focused on the interaction. He may start wondering what you are thinking, why you are not rushing to respond, or whether something has changed. The important thing is that this is not about creating insecurity or intentionally making someone anxious. It is about developing emotional control and becoming less dependent on immediate reassurance. The energy you communicate is different. Instead of showing that every action he takes controls your emotional state, you show that you are grounded and secure within yourself. That confidence can be incredibly attractive because it creates a sense of balance and emotional strength. The unbothered pause sends a powerful message without you needing to say anything. It communicates that you enjoy his presence, but you are not losing yourself in the process. You are not desperately trying to hold on to his attention or prove your value. You already know your worth. And that kind of self-assurance often creates a different dynamic because people tend to value what feels authentic, confident, and independent. When someone feels that your happiness does not completely depend on them, they often become more curious and more intentional about earning your attention. The pause creates space for him to move toward you instead of feeling like he is being pulled toward you. This brings us to the second gesture, which is the soft boundary. This is something many women struggle with because they worry that expressing their needs will push a man away. They fear that if they speak up about something that bothers them, he will become upset, lose interest, or decide that they are too difficult. Because of that fear, they sometimes ignore their own feelings, tolerate behavior that hurts them, and continue giving chances without communicating what they truly need. But avoiding boundaries does not create a stronger connection. In many cases, it creates an unhealthy dynamic where one person keeps giving while the other person keeps taking without understanding the impact of their actions. Pleased silence is completely different. It is the ability to sit with someone and genuinely enjoy their presence without needing constant words. It happens when you are together, and the conversation naturally slows down. Maybe you are sitting beside each other watching a movie, driving in the car, having coffee, or simply relaxing after a long day. Instead of becoming nervous and trying to create noise, you remain comfortable. You smile. You relax. You allow the moment to exist. Your energy communicates, I enjoy being here with you. I don't need constant attention to feel connected, and that feeling can be incredibly calming because it allows him to feel like he can simply be himself around you. You become comfortable with the quiet moments. Your body language changes because you are no longer waiting for him to entertain you or prove that he is interested. Your shoulders relax. You may look at him for a moment with a calm, warm expression and then return your attention to whatever you were doing. You are not watching him closely, hoping he says something. You are not reaching for your phone because you feel nervous. You are simply present. You are enjoying the moment and appreciating his company without needing constant conversation or stimulation. That peaceful energy communicates something powerful because it shows that you are comfortable within yourself. You are not dependent on constant reassurance to feel connected, and that creates a completely different emotional atmosphere between two people. This type of comfortable silence can have a strong effect because it allows a man's nervous system to relax. When you are able to sit beside him without needing him to constantly entertain you, reassure you, or prove his feelings, it sends a quiet message that you are emotionally secure. It tells him that your happiness is not controlled by his every action. You are not anxiously waiting for his attention or searching for signs that everything is okay. Instead, you are simply enjoying being there. That kind of presence can feel rare because many people enter relationships carrying pressure, expectations, and fear of being judged. When someone feels that they can be quiet, imperfect, and fully themselves around you, it creates a sense of comfort that is difficult to replace. Many men spend a lot of time feeling like they have to perform. They feel pressure to always be interesting, confident, entertaining, or emotionally perfect. They may feel like every word and action is being analyzed. But when they are with someone who creates a peaceful environment, that pressure begins to disappear. They feel like they can simply exist without needing to impress or prove themselves. They can have a quiet day, be lost in thought, or just enjoy the moment without feeling like they are failing in some way. That feeling of acceptance can become deeply meaningful because emotional safety is something people naturally seek in close relationships. The beauty of pleased silence is that it comes from confidence. It shows that you trust yourself and you trust the connection enough that you do not need constant confirmation. You do not need him to say the perfect thing every few minutes or constantly remind you that he cares. Your happiness exists independently, and that makes your presence feel lighter. When someone experiences this kind of energy, they often become more comfortable opening up because they do not feel like they are walking into an emotional test. They feel accepted rather than pressured. And when a man feels like he can finally relax around someone, that is often when his defenses begin to lower naturally. Now, let's look at why these 4 gestures can be so powerful when they are combined together. The reason they create such a strong impact is because each one communicates something different emotionally. The unbothered pause teaches emotional control. Instead of reacting instantly to every situation, you show that you can handle uncertainty with calmness. This creates curiosity because you are no longer predictable in moments of anxiety. When someone knows they cannot automatically control your emotional state with every action, they begin to pay closer attention to the relationship dynamic. The key is that this is not about pretending not to care. It is about becoming someone who can care deeply while still remaining grounded. Soft boundaries create another important shift because they communicate self-respect. They show that your kindness does not mean you will accept anything. You can be loving and understanding while still expecting healthy treatment. A person who knows their value naturally creates a different level of respect because they are not abandoning themselves just to maintain a connection. This balance can encourage a man to bring more effort because he understands that being close to you requires intention. He sees that you are someone with standards, not someone who will simply accept whatever behavior comes your way. Unexpected softness creates emotional depth because it shows that strength and warmth can exist together. You are not becoming distant just because you have boundaries. You are not using confidence as a way to hide your emotions. Instead, you show that you can protect yourself while still offering genuine care. This creates emotional contrast. A person begins to see different sides of you. Your confidence, your compassion, your independence, and your ability to connect. That emotional depth can make a relationship feel more meaningful because it does not feel one-dimensional. Pleased silence adds another layer by creating emotional peace. When someone associates your presence with calmness instead of pressure, they naturally begin to feel more comfortable around you. Their mind and body connect your presence with relaxation, acceptance, and emotional safety. This is why these gestures are not about manipulation or trying to control someone's feelings. They are about creating healthier patterns of connection. They come from self-respect, emotional awareness, and understanding that attraction is not built only through giving more. Sometimes it is built through the energy you bring into a relationship and the way someone feels when they are around you. So how can you tell when these changes are actually affecting him? Often, his behavior will reveal it before he ever says anything directly. When someone begins to feel more connected, their actions usually start changing naturally. One of the first signs is that he begins initiating more. He starts reaching out first, making plans, checking in, and creating opportunities to spend time with you. Instead of feeling like you are carrying the entire connection by yourself, you notice that he begins contributing more effort. This happens because the dynamic has shifted. He no longer feels like your attention is something automatically available whenever he wants it. He begins to value the connection and participate more actively. Another sign is a change in the way he communicates with you. His voice may become softer and more relaxed. The need to appear completely confident, funny, or unaffected starts to fade. Instead of always trying to maintain a certain image, he becomes more natural. He talks with less hesitation and allows more honesty to come through. You may notice that conversations feel less like a performance and more like a genuine exchange between two people. That change often happens when someone feels accepted enough to stop protecting themselves. You may also notice that he starts sharing more of his inner world with you. He tells you about things that happen during his day without you having to ask repeatedly. He shares his thoughts, concerns, goals, or personal experiences that he normally keeps private. This is a major sign because vulnerability requires trust. When someone begins inviting you into their thoughts and emotions, it usually means they feel emotionally safe enough to let you see parts of them that are usually hidden. Finally, his body language may begin changing when he is around you. Someone who was previously guarded may become more open and comfortable. He may naturally move closer, maintain more eye contact, or find small moments of physical connection. These gestures are usually subtle, not dramatic. They happen because comfort changes the way people physically respond to each other. When someone feels safe, their body often becomes more relaxed and open without them even realizing it. These small signs can reveal that the emotional distance is decreasing and that he is becoming more comfortable, allowing you closer. His body language may reveal the change before he ever says anything out loud. You may notice that his shoulders become more relaxed, his expression becomes softer, and the way he looks at you starts to feel different. It is not just a casual glance anymore. It feels like he is actually taking you in, noticing you, and appreciating your presence on a deeper level. Another sign is that he begins naturally including you in his future. He starts talking about plans beyond the present moment. He mentions things you could do together next week, next month, or even further ahead. Before, he may have focused only on what was happening right now or avoided defining the connection. But when he starts feeling emotionally connected, you become part of the way he imagines his future because the idea of you not being there begins to feel less appealing. Another sign you may notice is a small change in the way he reacts when other men show interest in you. It is not about unhealthy possessiveness or controlling behavior. It is more about noticing that he values the connection and does not want to lose it. You might see it through subtle things. The way he pays attention when another man is around, the questions he asks afterward, or the slight shift in his mood when he realizes others are interested in you. He may try to hide it because he does not want to appear overly invested, but small behaviors often reveal what someone is feeling internally. This type of reaction usually comes from emotional attachment and the realization that you are someone important in his life. The biggest sign, however, is when he starts expressing feelings that he normally keeps hidden. Instead of protecting himself or trying to appear unaffected, he begins saying simple things that reveal where his heart is. Maybe he says, "I miss talking to you. You were on my mind today," or "I really enjoy being around you." These are not dramatic declarations or exaggerated romantic moments. They are small, honest expressions that come naturally because he no longer feels the need to hide his emotions. When someone feels emotionally safe, they stop overthinking how they will be perceived. They simply allow themselves to express what they genuinely feel. But here is the most important thing to understand. These gestures only work when they come from authenticity. If you approach them as tricks or strategies designed to make someone become attached to you, the entire energy changes. People can often sense when something is being done with an agenda behind it. The goal is not to manipulate someone's emotions or create a reaction. The goal is to become a person who naturally brings confidence, warmth, and emotional balance into a relationship. These behaviors are powerful because they reflect who you are becoming, not because they are techniques you are using to control someone else. The first step is building genuine self-respect. The unbothered pause only has real power when it comes from inner security. If you pause on the outside, but internally you are overwhelmed, constantly checking your phone, and desperately waiting for his response, the anxiety behind the action will still affect the way you communicate. But when you pause because your life is full, because you have your own goals, interests, friendships, and sources of happiness, the energy becomes completely different. You are not trying to make him chase you. You are simply living your life and allowing him to be a valuable part of it instead of making him the entire focus of your world. Your boundaries also need to come from a genuine understanding of what you need. Do not create boundaries just to test someone or force a certain reaction. A healthy boundary is not a strategy. It is an expression of self-respect. Think about the things that truly affect your peace, your emotional well-being, and your sense of being valued. Those are the areas where boundaries matter. When your boundaries are real, they carry a different kind of energy. A person can feel the difference between someone who is trying to create a reaction and someone who simply knows what they deserve. Confidence is not about making demands. It is about knowing what kind of treatment aligns with your values. The same applies to softness. Genuine softness cannot be performed. You cannot force yourself to appear caring when you are deeply hurt, angry, or disconnected. That creates emotional confusion because the outside does not match what you are feeling inside. Real softness appears naturally when there is genuine care. When you see someone struggling and you truly want to offer support, that warmth has a different quality. It does not come from trying to earn love or approval. It comes from having enough emotional strength to be open while still protecting yourself. And finally, the please silence only works when you are truly comfortable with yourself. If you are sitting quietly beside someone while your mind is racing with fear, wondering if he is bored or losing interest, that tension will affect the moment. But when you have learnt to enjoy your own presence, when you are comfortable without constant stimulation, silence becomes peaceful instead of uncomfortable. You no longer need every moment to be filled with words because you understand that connection does not always require conversation. Sometimes simply being together is enough. The deeper truth is that these gestures are not really about making a man react a certain way. They are about becoming a woman who does not depend on external validation to feel valuable. A woman who has standards because she respects herself. A woman who can offer love and softness because she is emotionally strong enough to be vulnerable. A woman who can enjoy quiet moments because she is genuinely at peace within herself. When you become that person, the way you experience relationships changes completely. It does not only affect one man. It changes the way people respond to you in general because your energy, your choices, and your confidence become different. You are no longer chasing approval, constantly trying to prove your worth, or changing yourself to fit someone else's expectations. You show up as yourself, grounded, confident, and authentic. That kind of presence naturally attracts healthier connections. The people who only wanted someone easy to control or someone who would accept anything begin to lose interest because they recognize that you are no longer operating from insecurity. At the same time, the people who genuinely value you begin to step forward. They recognize your standards, appreciate your warmth, and understand that being close to you requires effort and respect. You no longer have to constantly wonder where you stand because their actions become clear. You no longer need to chase attention because the right person willingly creates space for you in their life. You no longer need to convince someone of your value because your confidence communicates it before you ever say a word. So the next time you are connecting with someone you care about, remember what truly creates emotional closeness. It is not endless availability. It is not sacrificing yourself to keep someone interested. It is not becoming smaller just to fit into someone else's expectations. It is showing up as a woman who can pause instead of react, who can communicate boundaries without fear, who can offer genuine warmth from a place of strength, and who can enjoy connection without needing constant reassurance. That is the energy that creates deeper attraction and emotional safety. That is what allows someone to lower their defenses and experience a connection on a different level. The question is, which of these 4 gestures feels the most challenging for you personally? Is it the unbothered pause because you naturally react quickly when emotions are involved? Is it setting soft boundaries because you worry that speaking up could push someone away? Is it showing unexpected softness because past experiences have made you protect yourself? Or is it becoming comfortable with silence because quiet moments make you feel uncertain? Share your thoughts in the comments and let me know which one you want to practice first. If this message gave you a new perspective on relationships and emotional connection, make sure to like the video and subscribe for more content about building healthier, more meaningful connections. This is a space for people who want to grow, understand themselves better, and create relationships based on confidence, authenticity, and mutual respect. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care of yourself.